especially if you're new to managing the Instacart business or a similar intermediary like Instacart, their scale can be really intimidating. How do you manage a business that's 700 plus retailers? I think with that comes great opportunity, though, in the sense that they're in a very unique position to be a demand aggregator across that immense scale of the majority of your market ACV. Where else can you go and see this type of, on-shelf availability signal almost in real time across 700 plus retailers in your network? Likely nowhere. It's setting us up well for kind of the back half of this section, which is, okay, as a brand, what's the real opportunity and how can you use this, and what have we learned along that journey and that initial step? So we kind of talked about this. You can create some pretty interesting heat maps with this data, right? That will show you, like, down to the zip code where your supply chain is really pinched from an on-shelf availability standpoint. We've already started using it in some senses, and it helps you kind of map out, okay, here are all our warehouses and distribution centers, and then here are the areas of the country that, one way or another, that product isn't making it efficiently out on shelf fast enough. And we've had some really compelling results by trying to overlay that data with our supply chain behaviors. I think the real power you can think of is, I know you're all familiar with the CPG industry. Think if you're a DSD supplier where you have people who are boots on the ground going into the store, and in many cases even helping that store or owning the stock of the shelf itself. Even if you're just a CPG who has a retail force going into stores setting up displays, if you can connect them with this data, we all know those people have more store calls than they do hours in a day. If they have 100 store calls to make, this data could tell them, hey, if you prioritize these 10 stores on your list, this is where you have the greatest chance of addressing 80% of the out of stock, not available on shelf issues, because the store's saying they have inventory, it just hasn't been brought out to shelf yet. In short, a lot of power in having that consumer-based demand signal right at the point of purchase versus the retailer-based demand signal. I'll say a little bit more about that, because anybody who's worked in CPG knows the frustrations of, pipeline, and the retailer ordered a lot, but that's not what they're selling off the shelf. And you have that inefficiency of, hey, we sent more supply to this place than we needed to and not enough to this other location. That created inefficiency and cost in our supply chain, and most importantly, a lost sale basis where that extra product should have gone.